Girl, boy.
2, 1, and you're up.
Good afternoon. I'm Laurie Smith, Kennebunkport's town manager. Today I'm hoping to cover a few issues with both Chief Sanford and Public Health Director Allison Kenneway. First, I would like to address the tension in our environment. People across the world have lived through so much in the past few months. People are scared, concerned, seeking answers, hoping for the best. These emotions have been mostly focused on surviving. As time marches on and the hope we had prayed for seems more distant, I have noted on a national and even on a local level that the tension has increased. People have become more short with each other and have become much more vocal with negative thoughts. As we do our best to navigate our way through a pandemic, people have turned political, angry, and even violent. As I have said before, and I will continue to say, this is a marathon and not a sprint. There are productive ways to engage in conversations about moving forward. Please be the people I know that you are. You are smart, you are creative, and you are civil. Let's practice kindness and remember that we are all grieving. We are grieving the loss of friends and loved ones, the normal rites of ceremony, whether a birthday, wedding, anniversary, birth, or even a funeral. Some are grieving time spent in their seasonal home or a long-planned vacation in a favorite spot. Some are grieving the loss of current jobs or new graduates, the start of a career. And many are grieving the potential loss of a business, which represents the loss of valued employees, the safety of a paycheck, savings, hard work, a future, and the possibility of retirement. All of these issues can be seen through many lenses, but right now the commonality is grief and loss. Be kind and remember that the person on the other end of the discussion is probably grieving something very real and very personal. The tension is playing out in our local community between residents. People are drawing lines in the sand between those who are year-round and seasonal. I would remind everyone that when you love something or someone and you really love it, you have to love everything about that. Kennebunkport is a community that has a large percentage of property owners who are seasonal. For some, that means they come back for a few weeks each year. For others, it means they are here for the summer. And for some, it means something less than year-round. All of these people contribute to our community and allow it to be the beautiful, fun, charming town that we all love. The governor's orders and actions and even the towns have hurt some people who deeply are grieving their own losses. These actions were taken in support of a healthcare system that was not designed for a pandemic with a large population base. But these words and actions were heard by our seasonal residents differently. They have heard that we don't value them, that we don't appreciate them, that we only want their money when times are good. I want to speak on behalf of the Board of Selectmen and myself when I say that is simply not true. The town is taking action based on guidelines from the state of Maine, the Center for Disease Control, and our desire to limit impacts to public health. Seasonal residents who make the commitment to quarantine safely are certainly welcome in our community. The challenge has really been day trippers, the continued lack of testing, the lack of PPE for healthcare providers and first responders, and the fear that wraps each day in our COVID-19 era. Please be kind and remember that because someone may sport a license plate from outside of Maine, doesn't mean that they haven't taken the necessary precautions to be here. Speaking of precautions, this past week, I have been asked a lot of questions about wearing masks. As we all know, the governor's orders require the wearing of face coverings as of May 1st, 2020. I have asked Chief Sanford to review the governor's order and clarify when people should wear face coverings. On a personal note, I now bring my face mask everywhere. This one was given to me by the chief of police. Just like I wouldn't leave the house without my phone, keys, or wallet, I now don't leave without a mask. Some people have made this into a question of whether we are infringing upon people's freedoms by requiring them to wear a mask. I see it differently. I see it as an opportunity to protect my community, my friends, and set an example for others. Whether you are walking outside, going to the grocery store, or pumping gas, you should have a mask. Have the mask available and ready to go in case you would run into someone and you can't practice physical distancing. It's really a gift to others. I would also remind everyone that some people have medical challenges that mean they cannot wear a mask. Do not assume that someone who is not wearing a mask is deliberately disobeying the order. There may be more to the story. Be kind. I'm now going to introduce Allison Kennebunkport.
Good afternoon. I'm Allison Kennebunkport, Director of Kennebunkport's Public Health Office. I don't have a whole lot of new stuff to say today, but just wanted to re-educate everyone about practices that we've reviewed over the past 8 weeks. Remember, Maine residents are required to stay at home under the governor's Stay at Home Healthier order through May 31st. This means to continue to stay at home and only go out for essentials. For example, and this is all on the Maine CDC website, to obtain necessary supplies for households like groceries, supplies to work from home, laundry, products needed to maintain safety, sanitation, and maintenance of home residents. Obtain medications and medical supplies or seeking medical or behavioral health or emergency services. Providing care to family members or loved ones, traveling to and from educational institution to obtain materials for distance learning, and engaging in outdoor activities but maintaining social distances. People traveling in the car together are limited to immediate family unless transporting for essential activities. When out of the home, you must maintain a minimum of 6 feet from other people, and a mask is required in public spaces when social distancing is not able to be maintained. And also remember, wash your hands for 20 seconds, cover your coughs, stay at home when you're sick, continue to wash frequently touched surfaces in your home and work area, continue to social distance, and wear a mask in public spaces. And just to review some symptoms of the COVID-19, which a little bit has changed, cough, shortness of breath, fever, shaking chills, headaches, muscle pains, sore throat, and new loss of taste or smell are the symptoms that they've been sharing now. I've had numerous phone calls over the past couple of weeks from out-of-state travelers asking about coming to Maine. Some have been day trippers, weekend visitors, week-long vacationers, and summer home owners. They're all inquiring about how to come to Maine and what they can do once they get here. I just wanted to help clarify some of the questions, so I'm going to read from the Maine CDC website in the governor's order. It is mandated that out-of-state travelers coming into Maine, as well as Maine residents returning to Maine, complete a 14-day quarantine upon arrival. This does not mean to quarantine, this does not apply to a quarantine that you probably have already done in your state. It really starts upon arrival to Maine. This means that you need to arrive to the state with enough food and medications or whatever you'll need for the next 14 days. And you would go directly to your state, wherever you're planning to stay. And after 14 days, if you're symptom-free, then you're free to move about. You're still supposed to social distance by keeping 6 feet from others and avoid contact with people. And if you're sick, wear a mask, cover your mouth and nose. Visitors should not be coming into Maine if they're coming from cities or regions identified as COVID hotspots. And if you'd like to travel to Maine, please see the Maine CDC website for travel details and the governor's plan for reopening of the state. And as I said, currently, it is only essential travel until the end of May. If you're in need of food, you may still order food boxes through the town's general assistance office and to make those arrangements. You can still attend one of the food pantries at Vinegar Hill that's hosted by Community Outreach Services Tuesdays at 5 and Fridays at 9. 211 and the crisis hotlines are still available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Please reach out to someone if you feel you need help. And seniors and medically fragile people can still request assistance with errands and shopping if needed. Call the public health office to make arrangements. And last week I talked about a new offering of frozen meals for 60-year-olds and older, and with a joint effort between the Public Health, Parks and Rec, and Southern Maine Agency on Aging. 3 meals for $10, and it was a huge success, and we will be offering it again. So if you want to place an order, you'll be calling Corinne at Parks and Rec, and I think the number is right there on the screen. And please order by May 12th to place that order for pickup for May 15th. And if you need help with delivery to your home, you can make arrangements when you make the call. Also, if you're still looking for something to do while at home, please check out the Kennebunkport Parks and Rec website for online options and activities. And lastly, I just wanted to mention that the Public Health Office is hosting a blood drive on May 29th at the American Legion Hall from 10 to 3. And please consider donating, as it is still critical during this COVID-19 time. And you can go to the Red Cross website to sign up or call the Public Health Office, and I can help sign you up. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Chief Sanford, Craig Sanford, Chief of Police. And before I get started, I want everybody to understand that I'm not threatening anybody. I'm not promising anything. I don't want to arrest anybody. I don't want to summons anybody. I'm just trying to refresh the orders that are here currently in place that could change next week, depending on what the governor does. But right now, these things are important for us to follow, to include the masks, and I'll get to those. So under Executive Order 49, dated April 29, 2020, Governor Mills extended Executive Orders 14, 19, 28, and 34 until May 31st, 2020, unless amended sooner. So there's the out. Possibly things could get amended sooner, but it takes our cooperation and still following these executive orders to make sure that that happens. Executive Order 14 prevents gatherings of more than 10 people and prevents bars and restaurants from having inside dining. So, we've made a couple of warnings in this already. Specifically last weekend, there was a gathering in town where there was more than 10 folks, as well as folks from outside. So we got to make sure that we're doing what we need to do. Executive Order 19 deals with businesses that are open and occupancy limitations, as well as social distancing requirements. Executive Order 28 deals with the requirement to stay home unless for essential needs, as well as defining limits on essential businesses. So again, we're still under that order that, we should be out just doing essential business and or recreating in some way. And, that's important. It's important for all of us. Executive Order 34 deals with visitor limitations as well as lodging restrictions and the mandatory quarantining for 14 days when you enter the state of Maine. Again, I see it wherever I go. I deal with it at my own home, which is not here in Kennebunkport. It's important that we abide by that. And as the other departments have been getting a lot of phone calls, and we will make warnings as need be. I believe some of us have forgotten these executive orders that are still in effect, and as a requirement under the penalty of, and are a requirement under penalty up to including arrest and a possible $1,000 fine. We do not want to have to do any of this, so we're asking for your cooperation in this. And just remind yourself, remind your friends, remind your family, and anybody that's coming here. Please abide by these. So I've been asked to talk about the cloth masks in this new order. You know, so a cloth mask can be anything. It can be, a bandana. It can be, a non-N95 type mask, because we're trying to save those for public, the first responders and medical staff. So you can make your own. There's a lot of them out there. You can use a bandana, a balaclava. You can use just about anything that will cover your face and mouth, your nose and mouth. And you're required to use this mask in a public setting. So what is a public setting? A public setting is defined as an indoor space that is accessible to the public, such as a grocery store, a retail store, a pharmacy, or a healthcare facility. It also includes outdoor spaces, such as playgrounds, busy parking lots, and other areas such as lines for takeout where the public typically gathers. A public setting also means any public transportation or waiting area. So there is no simple answer to this. The simple thing that you can do is, like the town manager said, is to have some type of mask with you at all times. We carry them now. It's just part of your daily wardrobe now. If you're going outside your house and off of your property, it's important that you have something. You never know when you're not going to be able to meet that 6-foot distance social requirement, and you're required to have a mask. And I also want to remind that some of these business owners are requiring you to have a mask. They are, by the state, required to enforce that. So if a business asks you to have a mask on before you come in, please abide by it. They're just trying to protect themselves from actually falling under that penalty that I just described, about a $1,000 fine, and to include arrest. So we don't want that. So you got to cooperate. I don't care what the business is. If they ask for a mask, please put it on and be kind. It's not something that they want to do. And it doesn't matter who it is. It's whether your opinion is you need a mask or not. I don't care what your title is. We all have to follow these guidelines. Please be kind and follow the requests. We are all in this together, and it doesn't matter your opinion. So again, be kind to folks. Try and do what's right. And if you have questions, you can call the police department and ask to speak to me, and I'll try to help out as best I can. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief and Allison. In other updates, the Board of Selectmen and Budget Committee met last night, Monday, May 4th, and voted on their recommendations for a budget warrant article, which will be voted in July. The vote on recommendations from both boards will allow for a 0% tax rate increase for municipal expenditures. The RSU Board also met last night on Monday, May 4th, but they did have technology challenges and ended up postponing their meeting until next Monday night, May 11th. They are considering reductions to their budget as well. One new item on the town meeting warrant this year is the introduction of a tax club. This warrant article will allow the town to establish a tax club for citizens similar to a Christmas club. Citizens establish a payment plan so they can make monthly payments throughout the year without risk of interest, penalty, or other charges. Our finance department will be advertising the club in the next couple of months. As the vote this year does not occur until July 18, the club won't start until August. But we will be encouraging people to make a prepayment in July based on last year's tax bill to give people 11 months to pay their full bill. The Selectmen and Budget Committee also discussed the interest rate charge for late payments this year, knowing that citizens may be challenged with making payments due to COVID-19. The Selectmen have lowered the interest rate to assist people who might be having difficulties. As I noted last week, the town continues to move forward with our reopening plans. These documents cover a wide number of sectors in our local community. And I want to personally thank everyone who is assisting with the plans for all their hard work as they develop protocols, plans, and strategies in an unknown world. The Goose Rock Speech Advisory Committee will be meeting tomorrow night, Wednesday, May 6th, to discuss a phased reopening of the beach. Items up for discussion include reopening parking spaces, activities on the beach, daily sticker sales, and communication. Once the committee has developed their recommendations, they will meet with the Board of Selectmen. Our Elections Committee is planning for the July 14 and July 18 votes. They are developing protocols that will enable us to protect the poll workers and voters as much as possible. This will include physical distancing standards, encouraging absentee balloting, and meeting all state requirements on sanitation and hygiene. Our staff is also working on internal plans for full operations in all departments. This level of detail includes employee health, training, physical barriers, operational procedural changes, physical distancing, and sanitation procedures. We have a draft plan that we are refining in hopes to bring to the Board of Selectmen at their meeting next week on May 14th. I am in hopes to have Town Hall back open by the end of the month. The timeline includes the ability to secure needed supplies to reopen safely. Our Business Reopening Committee is staffed by representatives from hotels, restaurants, retail, marinas, and the golf course. Their plan is called the Kennebunkport Promise and is a two-way promise. The businesses promise to have stringent and thorough cleaning procedures, appropriate physical distancing, hand sanitizing stations, and single-use touch points. The customer's promise is to stay home if sick, respect social distancing and cleanliness guidelines, and to be kind to staff and other customers, as this is all done for everyone's health and safety. I am very impressed with the work our business committee has done so far and the level of detail. They have brought forward the best practices and CDC guidelines covering employee health and protection, sanitation and disinfection checklists, guidelines for all businesses, hotels, restaurants, offices, marinas, golf courses, and retail. I am in hopes to share this information with the Board of Selectmen later this week. We are all hard at work keeping the wheels on the bus and building a new engine to run our old bus. Please stay engaged and let us know your thoughts in a constructive, positive manner so that we can all improve, adjust, and move forward in this brave new world. Be well and stay safe.